everyone. Hope you guys are all having a good day. Loki's running around back there. Today, I wanted to talk to you guys about what's going on with the Federal Reserve and how we're going to be able to make some money off of it, specifically around altcoins and Bitcoin, because this is going to be huge here. So far, if you guys didn't know, we had a few bad months of inflation, really bad months of inflation, where we were supposed to be going down, and every single month it was hotter than expected. Not just hot, but hotter than the whole market was expecting, that consensus. And that's led to Bitcoin coming crashing down, the NASDAQ coming down hard, the Dow Jones and the SPY. All of it coming down quite a bit as the dollar index has soared and a lot of global tensions have risen. Now, those global tensions happen to be more of because the Middle East, you would say, Ukraine, Russia, stuff like that. However, those tensions have been messing with oil prices, which directly correlate to what inflation is doing. So if the Middle East is a hot pot of nastiness and war, well, guess what? That means inflation in the United States is going to be more expensive, and because of that, that means the Federal Reserve is not going to be cutting rates. And of course, if the Federal Reserve is not cutting rates, that means Bitcoin is going to have a much tougher time breaking to all-time highs over and over and over again. Same thing with altcoins here. And this is why when the Fed came out and pretty much said over the last couple weeks, we're probably not going to have any rate cuts until maybe September, or possibly none at all in 2025, the market was obviously not too happy about that. So now everybody's going back into seeing, well, what is it going to take for the Federal Reserve to cut rates? If you guys watched the video a few days ago, you guys know that one of the ways that the Federal Reserve will start to cut rates, even in a high inflationary environment, would be, well, kind of a weird way to say this, but jobs have to be getting lost. That means that we're going to have less jobs out there, unemployment levels tick up, and that's what's really going to start to get the feet, light a fire underneath the Federal Reserve to start to cut rates here, because they want to prioritize the economy. That's what's going on right now. If you were to give Jerome Powell a choice of 2% inflation or a decent economy, I think right now we have a decent economy. We have jobs and stuff like that, but if you ask the average person, it's a pretty shitty economy, right? He would say he would rather have a shitty economy where everybody has a job over having the 2% inflation. And that's why, as of late, he's pretty much just said, hey, we know inflation's getting harder. We're just going to have to see if we can outlast this. And then eventually we should see inflation come back down, but we don't want to jeopardize the economy. With that mindset, I think, regardless if you guys don't like Jerome Powell or if you guys really do like Jerome Powell, it's an okay choice to make. Yes, inflation is getting hotter and hotter and hotter. Yes, we all understand this, but people have jobs. It's a lot easier to fight inflation, and by that I mean like an average person to spend money on the stuff they need if they have a job. Unfortunately, right now that's requiring people having 2 or 3 jobs, which definitely isn't the best way to go about it, but it's where we are. The other way that the Federal Reserve will start to lower its interest rates is if, honestly, inflation just starts to come back down. For me, that's going to be hard for a lot of reasons. The number one reason, though, that it could go down is if the Middle East calms down a little bit. If we can get oil prices coming back down, which it kind of goes against my personal interest because you guys know I'm heavily invested in oil stocks right now. If that were to happen, you would see inflation coming down in a meaningful way by summer, which would cause the Federal Reserve to say, hey, we're starting to see maybe unemployment not be as good as we thought it might be. That might be enough for them to actually lower those rates as well. It's really going to depend on that two-piece solution, let's just call it that. Energy prices coming down, and then on top of that, we would love to see unemployment tick up just a little bit here. Those are the real big things. But once those things start to happen, and I don't mean that, he has to cut the rate right then and there. Once the market believes that it's inevitable, it's going to be happening fairly soon. And you can think of, every time like they try to forecast this stuff out, like maybe 2 months ahead, 3 months ahead. That's really where you guys are going to be looking to blow it up on altcoins and Bitcoin. This can be anything from Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, all the way to the trashiest of meme tokens, like the baby Dogecoin, Book of Meme, all that type of stuff, the AI tokens, you name it. You're going to be loading up on all that stuff. Because right now, everything is so murky because we just had the inflation news. We just had all this bad economic data and stuff like that. And I don't mean bad as like, unemployment ticking up. I mean the economy's heating up, that which means inflation's going up. Because we've had all this data, really, it's not even the opportune time to buy. The reason I'm buying and I'm doing my dollar cost averaging every Thursday is because this is still a bull market by our standards here as far as Bitcoin's concerned. And sometimes during a bull market, we have unforeseen things that happen that cause Bitcoin to soar. And I want to have a hedge against that right now. What I'm not doing is I'm not opening up a high leverage trade with a lot of money attached to it and hoping that Bitcoin's going to go up over the next 1, 2, 3